and welcome to today's look into the story of Exodus 14. We are going to be talking about that in worship on Sunday, about the ways that God delivered the people of Israel through the Red Sea and what does that mean for us in our lives today. But first, we're going to look at a few of the basics, a few of the building blocks of that story. One of the most important building blocks is the person of Moses. Now, I think if you ask people just generally went out into the world and said, name a person from the Bible, other than Jesus, Moses is probably going to be the first person on their minds. Even if they haven't read the Bible, they've heard of the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston, or they've seen a clip with him with the blowing, hair and the beard. Moses is understood from the very beginning of the story of Exodus as the new Noah. From the beginning of the story, Moses is put into an ark and then cast into the waters for an uncertain future in order to save him. We heard the story of Moses' mother and what happens after he is born. She tries to hide him for 3 months, and when she can no longer hide him, she puts him in a basket and seals him up with tar and sets him out. It's exactly the same thing that happens to Noah. When God could no longer wait anymore, once the ark was built, God sealed Noah up into the ark and cast him out into the waters. We're supposed to hear that and remember that story. The other story that we're supposed to hear echoes of is the story of Joseph. There's a reason these are back-to-back stories as we move through this season, through this promises out of the shadows season in worship. And that's because Joseph escaped to Egypt. Now, it wasn't a willing escape. He didn't choose to escape to Egypt, but that's where he went. We also remember that Abraham escaped to Egypt when he needed to get out, when he was in trouble with the local tribes, escapes to Egypt. And so we're supposed to hear this, that Egypt was a place of safety, and God delivered these two heroes of the faith to Egypt in order to protect them. It reminds us of the story in Matthew 2 when Jesus was a little boy, was a year old maybe, when the Magi came to Herod and said, "We've heard there's been a son born, a king of the Jews. Do you know where he is?" And Herod freaks out, because he's the king, and he has his astronomers try to figure out where this kid was born, and he goes and he has all the kids, boys 2 and under, in Bethlehem killed. But God had already come to Joseph in a dream and sent them to Egypt to be delivered. And so we hear over and over again this story: Noah and Abraham and Joseph and Moses and Jesus and many more all have this Exodus experience, where they are in a place of danger, where they're in a place where they are no longer safe, and God delivers them, sometimes through water, sometimes through chaos, sometimes through violence, sometimes in fear, sometimes they run as fast as they can, and sometimes they mosey. But they are always delivered through this waters, through the Exodus moment. And so in the end, what we have learned is that the Bible is a story of a God who intervenes on behalf of the people. That God is always bringing people from a place of chaos and danger into a place of deliverance. But that requires an Exodus experience. And it's not fun. The Exodus is not an enjoyable trip. It's not like they're eating manna out of the dirt, out of the grass for years, wandering through deserts and asking for water. It's not fun. Exoduses are not good. But in the end, we know we will be delivered. And so there is that promise that is before us. Genesis set the foundation for what we can expect from God. And Exodus develops that theme. It makes that theme deeper and richer, and gives us the story of a people who experience firsthand that deliverance. And it sets us up for a Savior who does the same thing. God bless.